thinking about stuff that's pretty irrelevant when it comes to big picture.
What do you feel like you guys have to do better this time than you did during the first matchup?
Well, I think there's some things that we actually did okay in the first matchup. But obviously from a better standpoint, we need to play better one-on-one defense. Our closeouts weren't any good. Scout report, we didn't follow very well. There's a lot of things that we can do, and of course it helps if you shoot the ball better, but those are things sometimes that aren't controllables. I tend to usually focus on controllables, and the controllables are, we can certainly rebound better. We can be much more alert defensively, pay attention to scout report better, execute better. And then, in the late game situation, obviously, we need to be better than we were in Manhattan.
And you mentioned scouting report a few times recently. Does playing a team a second time help in that regard with guys knowing it?
Should. But what I'm talking about when I say scout report, I'm not talking about, okay, we're going to when they get in this alignment, this one we're going to switch and this one we're not. I'm not talking about that near as much. I'm talking about more about it. Which hand is strong hand? Who can we bluff off of? Who can we show stronger help off of? Things like that. So, but usually second time is better. Technically, if you go back and look over time, and I know that somebody will positively do this, but when you go back and look over time, I would say that the scoring in the second game is never as high as the scoring in the first game. I shouldn't say never. I'd say usually not as high. Could be wrong on that, but that's how at least that's how it seems like it's been with us over time.
And we just talked to Ernest, and he talked about him staying ready kind of throughout the ups and downs in terms of his minutes. Just how have you seen him kind of stay ready or stay focused throughout the
Oh yeah, Ernest's attitude. I've said that every time. It's a 10. He and Zuby both. Their attitudes are 10s. Zach's had a good attitude, but with Zub being out, Ernest without question will be our first big off the bench. So and then Zach needs to be prepared to play too. So or prepared to play also. But I thought Ernest did a really good job the other day, and even though I think we can do some things better than what we did the other day, but it was nice to have three opportunities to have a run to the rim threat, which we really don't have near as much when KJ's in the game.
How did DeJuan grade out the other night? Looked like he had a lot of assists, hardly any turnovers.
Against Kentucky?
Yeah.
I thought he played well. I thought he played well. May got a little tired late, but heck, he was more aggressive offensively to at least shoot the ball in the first half primarily. But yeah, I thought Juan was back to being Juan.
All 5 starters, is that as well as they played as a group in a while?
Well, it's certainly the best we played as a group, in the last 2 weeks. So I can speak to that. I can't remember all the games or whatnot, but when you look at our starting 5 the other day, you could say that all 5 were definitely positive contributors. Even if it wasn't making shots, doing things to put our team in a better place. So yeah, I think I didn't grade them all out, to see if it was better than other games grade outs, but I certainly think it was one of our better collective performances in the last 2 or 3 weeks.
What do you think of playing K-State and Iowa State so soon?
I don't understand why the league does it. To be real honest with you, we're playing both 2 teams twice before we play Texas once, and I know other teams in the league do the same thing. So I don't understand that. But maybe television has a lot to do with it. I don't know, but it's it's obviously what we have, and we're fine with it because that's the way it is. But it just seems like to me, in a perfect world, you would try to space those games out a little bit more for different reasons. And I don't know if anybody else feels the same way, but it seems strange to me sometimes playing a team within would it be within 2 weeks?
I think so.
It's within 2 weeks of when we last played them.
Were Zuby and Kevin ankles or feet? What's wrong with them?
Yeah, Zoob's is more, well, I guess, I'm just gonna say foot, and Kev's is more his ankle.
I don't have much of a memory, but I think you guys did a great job on Noel 2 weeks ago. Sills, had a really good game. Can you just talk about those two things?
Well, if you add those two together, they got what they were averaging, probably. If you add Carter and Sills and Noel, they probably got what they were averaging. It just came from a different area. Sills was unbelievable. He may have been the best player in the game. What did he end up with, 22, 24, whatever, and was so efficient. And Carter had a nice game, and Noel had a nice floor game. We just didn't let him get numbers. But that's obviously got to be a big key, because he's a guy who can go for 30 any night and get 10 dimes in the same game. So we can't let him control the game. And even though I thought we did a decent job on him last time, we obviously didn't do a good enough job on the other guys that certainly negated the good job we did on him.
And back to Saturday, your bigs were going against the unanimous choice for Player of the Year last year. It's just only natural instinct that you be a little bit in awe of going against those guys in their own gym, and the way KJ and Ernest just attacked him so aggressively. Were you impressed with that, or certainly expected?
I tell you what, this is what I was probably the most impressed with. KJ made him guard, because that was the whole deal, try to score. And he made him guard, and he was able to guard. We didn't shut him down by any reason. What do you have, 18 and 9 or whatever? It's still first team All-American numbers, so it's not like we shut him down. But what we did a great job of is limit what he probably does best, and that was getting to the offensive glass. And I've watched the tape. We did a great job defensively on blockouts. And KJ was the majority of the time, but Ernest obviously did a great job as well. And then our rotation rebounding with other guys rotating to block guys off was the best it's been in a while.
I know it's just one game, but you guys are running a 3-game losing streak, and to win a game like that on the road, how big of a boost can it be, or could it potentially be for you guys?
Well, I think it, helps with mojo a little bit. I said this. I think it was Matt that asked me the other day. That wasn't your normal 3-game losing streak. So we had one really bad game in there in which we played poorly, but that wasn't your normal 3-game losing streak. Because the teams are so good, and the teams are still so good, and starting obviously with K-State tomorrow. So I think it was important that we I always say don't let 1 become 2 or 2 become 3. Well, we did. So now we couldn't let 3 become 4 in that situation. So hopefully it'll be good for our confidence, our mojo a little bit.
Bill, you mentioned that you'd rather have the second matchups with Kansas State and Iowa State more spread out for different reasons.
Not for Kansas State and Iowa. I'm talking about in general. Why would Team A play Team B, regardless of who they are, in a short amount of time? So that's what I was saying.
Yes. What's the benefit you see there in playing teams a second time more spread out than 2 weeks?
It's more real. You have a better feel for the league. If you have one injury. Now potentially one guy doesn't play in 2 games where it wouldn't be that way the other way around. So that's how I see it. To at least to me, it happens that way in other leagues. If I'm not mistaken, Purdue and Michigan State played in East Lansing 2 weeks ago, and then they played again yesterday. So it's not unusual to have things like this happen. It just seems strange to me why it does. That's all I'm saying.
Whether you want to share it or not, when you saw K-State the first time, did you learn a lot about them that you maybe hadn't seen on film? Whether it was something they did or not, I don't know. But just seeing them, how much did that change how you can prepare this time?
Like when we watch our opponents that we play a second time, we'll watch the last game we played them and the games, up until we play them a second time. So basically, what they did before that, we have in memory bank or whatever, but that's not gonna be what we study. We're not gonna be studying what they did on December 22nd now. Near as much, even though it's part of the scout, but it's not gonna be something that we emphasize as much if they're not doing it as much now. Because you can only throw so much at the guys. I think the one thing, and they're better now than they were 2 weeks ago, because their starting center's playing. And he's an athlete, and he's a great rim runner, and can catch lobs and all those things. So I think the one thing that probably impressed me more in person was how long and how fast and athletic they actually are. Tomlin's long. And I don't want to mispronounce the name. Nagesson, is that the correct way to pronounce it? His brother played at Oklahoma State there for a moment, but he's good. I mean, he's good, and he certainly adds an element that I believe that they didn't have as much of the first time we played him. So and he's ridiculously long. But whenever you're playing Keontae Johnson at the 3, you've got a pretty big basketball team, and that's what they're doing the majority of the minutes.
Yeah, with him, what worked? I know you liked Jalen's defense on him in that first one.
Well, he still got 24.
Right.
So we didn't. What worked is when we didn't foul him, we actually defended him okay. But the problem was he drew so many fouls. I don't know what he was from the line. He had to score 8 or 10 points from the line in that game. So that was what we did not do well.
I was wondering, did you go to the Chiefs game? Did you watch it? What do you think of them going to the Super Bowl, and what do you think of Andy Reid?
Part A. I did not go to the game. I watched every play. It was obviously a great game, and it was just how you would envision a game of that magnitude coming down. I will say this, and not being a football expert, to throw for 350 yards and don't have any healthy number 1 targets, it's pretty amazing. Those receivers did a great job, and obviously, quarterback's pretty good, and I'm really happy for Coach Reid, which I think everybody in this area should be, because you talk about a storyline going into the Super Bowl. I mean, this is going to be fun for media for a couple of weeks. So I just hope he can enjoy it, because pretty special to get there, I'm sure.
Thanks, Coach.
I think that was all